This week, we're levying a challenge to each other to clean up our backlogs. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man who did the impossible and thinned his backlog down to just 10 games. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you?
Is it bad to say that this felt harder than it needed to be?
Brother, it was so very hard.
I was scrambling, trying to charge PS3 controllers to figure out what games I had not on disc.
Oh my god. I didn't even think about that.
Do we need to push this off until next week?
No. I have a good 10 here. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, there's probably nothing on there that's like that good. I don't know. I can't think about it.
So we'll see how this ends up playing out for me. I will mess with it today, but I actually couldn't even get any of my PS3 controllers to work.
Oh god.
Which is crazy because I've used them recently. But it took like a while for them to start charging when I turned my PS3 on. So I think they're probably fine. I just need to like leave the PS3 on and let them charge for a bit. But I ended up not even getting into it, and I just remembered one game that I had on and went with that.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Before we get into our little challenge, real quick, tell me about the games you've been playing the past week.
Not really a ton this week, but we did have a little Mario Party with our friends.
Oh, nice.
Which was an experience.
Oh, nice.
Well, like we enjoyed our friends. That wasn't the experience part. So much lag in the mini games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was not great.
Damn.
Like, not only it didn't even seem like it was just lag between like us and our friends, but also like input lag was weird. Like, for example, we played Domination, and should have been a game I took home pretty easily, and I think I ended up coming in last.
Oh.
I'm like watching the hammer on the screen, and it's like going every like 5 button pushes. I'm like, okay.
That is unfortunately not too surprising, but still disappointing.
Yeah. I've come up with a thesis for one of our problems, and it has to do with the PS5.
Oh, okay.
So in our old house, we used to have this problem with the Joy-Cons all the time. Like, wouldn't register any input. And I was reading online, and a lot of people were saying like if they had their PS4 in rest mode right next to their Switch, then seemed like it was causing some sort of interference.
Interesting.
We've been noticing a lot of weird input stuff since we've gotten the PS5. And like right now I have it in rest mode.
Okay.
But like 2 weeks ago I think we were playing a game and we weren't having any issues, but the PS5 was completely off.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
very strange. Never had this issue caused by the Xbox, and the Xbox is always in like a rest mode.
Sure. Do you always leave your PS5 in rest mode, or is that like your typical?
I've been doing it recently just because I've been playing a ton of Spider-Man.
Okay.
And that's basically like I just put that in like the suspended state.
Sure.
So I can just go in and play it. But like I'll probably end up, if I know I'm not playing a game for a couple days, I just turn it completely off.
Yeah. Okay. I think it was Kotaku just put out an article that like PlayStation released some sort of statistics to showcase that like 50% of players fully shut down their PS5 pretty much like every time, and then 50% like leave it in rest mode, which is a very funny like thing to be so split down the middle on. Like,
I guess.
like
I mean, given 2 options. I feel like
Ye-
50-50 is the natural split.
I guess, yeah, but like it's like one of those things where the thing you do is just so natural to how you play that you would just assume that that's how the population typically acts. Think of it as like right-handed versus left-handed and not like I don't even know what's something that is like so split 50-50 with the like population. I don't know. Anyway. um but I'm somebody who always shuts my PS5 all the way down.
Interesting. Did
Yeah.
you do that with your PS4 as well?
Pretty much.
Huh. So with my PS4, it was pretty much exclusively in rest mode. I almost never turned that all the way off just because I wanted updates to work. And that was the last console I've owned where that actually happened.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think probably just like one too many times console in rest mode, power goes out, turn the PlayStation on.
Mm.
PlayStation scolds the fuck out of you
Oh yeah.
if there's a power trip. It honestly is like think about your actions and maybe go play in traffic. That is the level of how PlayStation consoles talk to you if they do not shut down properly.
It very much so gives what is it? The mole from Animal Crossing.
Yes, you forgot to save your fucking game. I will come to
Yeah.
your house and stab you. That guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and here's 10 minutes of your life you'll never get back.
Yes. And it's like you were able to save and store that I didn't save, so why not just save the game for me? But that's neither
Right.
here nor there. Yeah, so anyway, uh I always, turn it all the way down. And so when I saw that 50% of people and Kotaku like set the article as like 50% of you sickos shut your PlayStation down all the way, that made me realize like, like it could be perceived because it is so split. It could be perceived that I'm the weird one. And it was just very funny, very jarring
Yeah.
to have that like realization.
See, if it were like an Xbox bias site, they would say 50% of you want the Earth to die.
But I thought doesn't Xbox have like good well, I guess leaving it on no matter what is bad, but they have good like energy saving stuff, no?
Yeah, and they have like both of my Xbox One and my Series X. I just have in like I think they call it standby mode. Um, but when you go in to select if you want, because it's not like the PS5 where like when you hit the power button you have an option right there. It's like you have to click through the menu and change the setting.
Gotcha.
And when you get to that page, it shows you like basically how many baby seals you'll kill if you leave it in standby mode, and how many you'll kill if you turn it off. But regardless, you're killing some.
Yeah.
So
No matter what, just your play session alone killed a few.
yeah, um, yeah. I don't know. I should probably just start turning my Xboxes all the way off because they don't update the fucking games anyway.
Yeah. Well,
It's like my biggest gripe with Xbox.
I got news for you about about PlayStation.
Yeah, I've noticed that too.
I feel like it doesn't. So
Yeah. I just also am in such a bad habit. Like, I guess I don't know, it's a feature, but I never like close games, and especially on the Xbox where you can have like 5 open at the same time.
that's such a luxury. God.
It's very nice. And like
Yeah.
even if you do lose power, it'll still be there.
Ugh.
Like I forget how long it can go, but I think it's a couple of days without power and you can
Like quick
still
resume.
going. Yeah.
Ugh.
But Xbox did do an update recently where even if you have like set it to like full shutdown mode, it still keeps like just barely enough on to do system updates.
Oh wow.
So that's nice. That's nice, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at my PS4 right now, which I haven't played in months, and it's on standby. So I did just turn it on yesterday to look through games, so that's the
Gotcha.
only reason. It was unplugged.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say
But
that's
I definitely
so
don't need it
funny.
in standby mode, and I will definitely be turning it off as soon as we're done recording.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so that's interesting about the Switch. I'll have to like I might have to do some like testing myself to see. Um, but yeah, I can't say that I've ever noticed anything in terms of like input. Which I guess the only game we ever played like online with like other people was Mario Kart,
That was probably
and
fine, right?
we didn't have any issues. But again, I always have my stuff turned all the way off. But like it worked well, honestly. You know, again because like my unfortunate genuine general expectations of Nintendo Online experiences are like it's gonna be fairly bad.
Yeah.
So, but all right. So you played some Mario Party. Anything else?
Little bit of Spider-Man. That was still a great game. I'm definitely, like I said last time, I think I'm taking my time with it.
Hell yeah.
Um, got to watch Justine play a lot of Arceus this week,
Nice.
and she is done.
Hey,
She's done everything there is to do.
full salute once again.
She got mad at me for saying she only has 180 hours publicly for that. The real answer was 208.
Oh, Mamma Mia.
Yeah. So she did that, and then I didn't realize the Switch had this feature until last week, but you can archive games.
Oh,
That's pretty sick. Did you know about this?
no. Tell me more.
So essentially, it deletes the game from your console, but keeps your game save
Sure.
and keeps the icon for the game on your console.
Oh,
So then, if you ever want to come back to it, all you have to do, and this is for a downloaded game, if you ever want to come back to it, all you have to do is like go to your console because it will still be there, and then you click it and it'll re-download it, and then you go.
oh, that's actually pretty
So,
nice.
yeah, it's kind of cool. Can't believe. I guess like PlayStation and Xbox have the library feature, but
Sure, but that
I don't know.
on the
It's nice.
Switch, I guess on the Switch, in some ways, it seems nice because it's a little more like curated and like exactly what you're going to be looking for.
Right.
Whereas, like on PlayStation, you have to sift through quite a bit, depending. Um,
Yeah. And with Xbox, they've started like if you have Game Pass, they add all the Game Pass games to your library, which is kind of
ooh,
annoying.
ooh,
I think you can filter it on like games you've purchased, but
yeah.
I can't remember offhand. It's just I think that feature is there, but it's still kind of strange.
But then the like flip side of both of these things is that at least you have it, like in a list, everything that you have available to
Right.
you with those two. How does it work with Switch? I don't know if I've actually bought any digital games really. Like I think most of the games I buy for Switch are physical. So
Oh, really?
yeah, like I just found out for the first time that the Nintendo eShop on the Switch eShop is just like a fucking web browser or something on the Switch.
I mean, it's typically how things on the internet work.
Yeah, I know, but like it's not an application, I guess. I don't know.
Um,
I don't
I
know,
don't
dude.
think I agree with that.
I'm too dumb. I don't know.
I think we exclusively buy games digitally for the Switch.
So how is there like a list on the eShop that like tells you like your downloads or stuff like that you can like easily
Yeah,
go
you
back
can.
to?
Easily is objective, but um, you just go like you go into the eShop and then somewhere I don't know if it's like under your like profile picture or if there's like a menu item for it. There is something for like previous purchases.
Gotcha.
It's not that hard.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, still,
Um, yeah, it's not bad.
the whole
Um,
archiving thing though is still a pretty like neat feature. I like that. That's pretty cool.
yeah. I don't know if you knew about this, but there are things for the eStore called vouchers. You know about this?
That's like the
You
$100
pay,
and it lets you get
yeah,
2 games, right?
yeah, pretty good deal.
That is a pretty good deal.
We basically will wait until we can do that, and it's nice because you can use it for pre-orders too.
Yes.
So I forget the game that I got with it, but we bought one of those, and God, what game came out in the fall?
Didn't you use it with like Pikmin and something?
We did use it with Pikmin, and I think it was Pikmin and Super Mario Brothers that came out like a year ago.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Super Mario Wonder.
Yeah, yep. We
Yeah.
used it with that, and that saved us $20 because they were both $60 games.
Yeah, it's definitely a good deal. It's like, especially if you like use it for 2 newer games.
Yeah,
That's
I think we
definitely
used it
cool.
for Mario Party. I think we used it for Mario Party and then Country that comes out in a week
Gotcha.
or 2 weeks. Can't remember. Yeah, it's nice. So you can pre-order it. Would recommend. But yeah, we got our Switch and like we're gonna be traveling with this a lot, and we do. So we just bought like 128 gig SD card for it right away.
Smart. Smart.
And there were we have a couple physical games, mostly ones we've gotten as, but
Sure. Well, big congrats. That's a huge that's a huge task to take on. Completely 100%ing um the Legends Arceus. I honestly potentially like I would say it's on level with like completing a Pokedex
yeah,
in a
I mean
game.
like you have to catch them all in Arceus, but then you also have to do all those like challenges too.
Right. Right. The only thing that I would say is like the biggest gap and normally the biggest hurdle in a with like a mainline Pokedex is that normally there's like the legendaries that are event only, and so
Yeah,
that adds like an obvious, you know, blanket challenge that makes it difficult. But otherwise, technically, I would say it's easier because all you have to do is catch. You don't have to do all the challenges of like use a move so many times and all that stuff and get all the stamps, which was such a satisfying part of that game, man. I'm so excited for the new Legends game. We'll probably get more
I was
information on that at the end of Feb.
yeah, yeah. Switch 2 release game when it comes out on March 3rd.
Yeah, maybe.
Um, who knows
Um,
anymore?
did you get any Madden games in while you still have time?
No, and I actually deleted Madden 25 from my Series X. I should say I deleted the 10-hour demo. Not Yeah, it
Right.
is 25 this year. Deleted the 10-hour demo so I could download Indiana Jones.
Oh, because I do just want to remind you so that I also don't forget. Mike won't download Madden between the Super Bowl and NFL season start.
You're right.
So
I will not.
you got a
Did I say
month.
anything about college football?
You didn't, but I think for the love
Yeah,
of the game, you should include that.
yeah, should probably apply. I did play that, so
Okay.
I am getting to the point in that game where I've kind of seen enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you were saying that your coach might be like 1,000 years old at this point
yeah,
with
yeah,
900 straight natty champs.
yep.
I started playing Madden.
Did you know?
I did. Madden 24 technically, but
Yeah, that's a good. I thought that was a good Madden.
yeah, I'm having
Played
fun
the
with
hell
it.
out of that Madden.
A game here, a game there to fill in a little time.
That was the Madden where I played so many seasons that they said no more.
They told you to go out and play in traffic.
Yeah, yeah.
They said just go outside, please, for the love of God.
They said you can do this in real life, right?
um,
Said not without serious injury.
I also started playing Metaphor.
Yeah,
Oh, dude.
good game.
Oh, dude. Certified good game, bad game podcast. Good game. You can't you don't even get a vote. Doesn't matter because it's a good game.
What if I told you that I had like on the PlayStation Store, I hovered over it for like 3 seconds and thought
I mean,
when it,
yeah. I would hope that you're taking your time when looking at the store and potential deals and stuff. So 3 seconds sounds about right.
yeah, I said
No, any
in 20 years I will need 10 more challenge games.
any prolonged thought outside of no, just like an immediate no with any Persona or now Metaphor game is yeah, definitely that definitely warms my heart. Yeah.
I think about it all the time.
Well, again,
The
yeah,
Persona games in particular, or Metaphor, but
sure. Well,
that same developer but not same universe. Is that what that is?
that is my understanding. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. The way Metaphor is set up is that like I'm not too far into it, so I don't know all the themes just yet, but it's more of like a fantasy type setting. So like everybody isn't just humans; they're different like races of mythical type creatures, um, and uh like one of the big first monsters you fight the monsters that you fight are called by the characters of the game. They're called humans. So you're fighting
Mm.
these like grotesque, weird looking monsters, but they're called humans. And, uh, my assumption is that it is like maybe potentially like a fantasy adjacent world or like, uh, that's like contained within a book or something like that that might exist within the Persona universe, but that also could just be totally out of left field and not right at all. But I could see that being like the interconnecting line. But otherwise, like in Persona, you're in like modern day settings. Anyway, if we ever get around to doing the whole show and tell thing, you better believe
That'll be
I'm
your game.
I'm bringing Metaphor or Persona to the table to get you to see the magic.
That'll do.
Um, I also real quick because I told myself I would finish Hogwarts Legacy and Sifu before I started playing because those were games that I bought in during the 2023 holiday sale. So I told myself I would beat both of those before getting around to playing Metaphor. And so I did beat Sifu. And holy shit, dude, that game is so much fun. I don't know. I feel like you started it, right?
Technically,
Yeah.
but I started it on PC and it was not a good experience.
Ah, ah. Well,
I think about that game frequently, including yesterday when I was finalizing my list.
it's very good. It is very good. And it's just super satisfying with like the fighting and stuff like that. And I'm not very good at it, but I was able to get through it with relative ease. There's technically like uh, there's like an ending, and then there's like a completionist ending. I don't really know how else to describe that without fully like kind of giving away what it is that you have to do. But so I technically only just did the regular ending. I do have all intentions of like going back and doing like a basically a second playthrough
Hmm.
to get like the more completionist ending. But nonetheless, I was able to job done. I did finish it so that I could start Metaphor. But yeah, Sifu, very good game. Would recommend.
Have you played Trek to Yomi yet?
No, I have not,
Okay.
and when I started to say that you had started Sifu, I couldn't remember if it was Sifu or Trek to Yomi because
I bought Trek to Yomi for the Switch, but I haven't played.
I remember Trek to Yomi really sticking out for you when we first saw that, whenever that was, probably like 2022 maybe.
Yeah, because it was actually on Xbox, and Sifu I think was only on PS5 for a little while at least.
I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I think I have Trek to Yomi. I think that was a free PlayStation Plus game, like a monthly game, not too long ago. Um, all right. Shall we get into our challenge?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, in case you didn't listen to last week's episode, and Mike, you let me know if I'm missing any part of it. Basically, we decided that it's finally time for us to work through our backlogs, and what better way than to kind of challenge each other to hold each other accountable, right? Um, you know, uh, New Year's challenges are they'll only get you so far if you don't have an accountability buddy. So, um, what Mike and I have done is we've put together a list of 10 games that we're going to each run through um, that are games from our backlog. The idea is that we should not have more than 2 games per console per generation. So that basically means like I could have 2 PS3 games on here and then and then 2 Xbox 360 games, or 2 PS4 and 2 Xbox Ones and so on, right? Um, let's see, and in an attempt to like not do, I can't just add metaphor to my list and be like, oh no, Mike, don't pick that game. Um, we're also doing games have to be older than 2022 or older. I believe was the cutoff that we had set. And then I think the only other thing is that the idea is that we're going to pick one game and we have a quarter to finish it. So April 1st for the first game is the deadline. Does that cover everything?
Yeah, and then I think the only other thing that we clarified last night was that it doesn't have to necessarily be a game that we never touched. It just has
Yes.
to be one that we don't have any meaningful time into, or like haven't played in a very long time,
Yeah. Yep.
but like didn't
Basically,
beat.
yeah. Yeah, Claire, you asked, does it have to be a game we've never started or at least have no meaningful progress? And I think no meaningful progress. And then I even said, like, even if you got halfway through a game but haven't touched it in 15 years, and the idea is that you're gonna start over anyway, like
Yeah,
that's totally within the spirit of this challenge that we're doing.
it's good
Um,
because I definitely have one that's pushing it.
is it Far Cry 3?
No, I beat Far Cry 3.
Oh, is it Far Cry 4?
I wouldn't say that I have ever started that one.
Oh, okay.
I think the only thing I've ever done in Far Cry 4 was literally just wait.
Oh, and do the
And
special ending.
yep.
That's really funny. Was it Far Cry 3 that your mom unplugged the console,
Oh my god.
or was that a different game?
Oh my god. I can't believe you remembered that because I I think it was.
Yeah,
God,
that's
that
six.
was a
That
long time ago.
that. Sorry to do that to you. Sorry to like hit you with the nostalgia of.
I think it was Far Cry 3, and I think I had it plugged. This was at my parents' old house.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had it plugged into an outlet that was controlled by a switch, I think. Which, like, not my mom's fault at all.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Um, but I don't think I knew it was a switch controlled outlet.
Yeah,
And she turned the switch off, and it turned my Xbox off. I think that was Far Cry 3. 'Cause
yeah.
that game didn't have autosave, did it?
Uh, yeah. Or like if it did, it was like very sparing.
Right.
Um, Yeah, that sticks out in my head because Far Cry 3 was a game that I had wanted you to play for a very long time, and that was like a pretty big hurdle because you had a lot of progress lost. And that's always tough
Yeah.
with any game to like, you know, move past a moment like that. Like you're 10 hours into a game and the save file gets corrupted and you have to start over. It's like that's tough. That is a
Was that what it
tough
was?
task.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
I
don't know
I really do
exactly, but
feel I really do feel it was that game and I lost. Like I stopped playing it.
yeah, no, I remember. And anytime it was brought up, it's like, oh, why didn't you do it? And so that's why it's stuck in my head. That
I completely wiped that from my memory.
okay. Well, anyway, that's
I didn't even remember that when I beat that game like 3 years ago.
which probably would have made it feel so much better.
Maybe.
Um, well, that's something like that is in the spirit of the challenge. And yeah, I think that just about covers everything. Um, and like I said, it's going to be a new game each quarter, and at least for this year, if it's something that we decide to continue doing, maybe at the start of the year we re-up the list or something like that. But basically every quarter, it's just like so. In April, when we pick a new game, it'll be from the list of 9 remaining games, and then 8, and then 7 to finish out the year. Um, but yeah, any other notes to add for the challenge?
No. Did we and I don't think this necessarily applies to my situation, but if there's like a PS2 game that had a PS3 or PS4 remaster,
Mm-hmm.
the remaster probably counts towards that generation, right?
The
And the
remaster,
original
like
towards the original generation.
like Shadow of Colossus remastered on PS4 would count towards PS2.
Yeah, like how do we handle those?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I also
I
don't think I have any of those.
I have maybe I think I have 2 that could apply, but I think I'm going to play them on the original console.
I think like Switch Online is like a pretty good and like the PlayStation Plus Premium like list if you have it. Like I think both of those are like pretty good instances too, where it's like, well, obviously I'm gonna play them on like the newer console or whatever. Like, and I think that's totally fine and still just in the
Yeah.
spirit of it. But in those instances, you would still be playing most likely the um, original form. But yeah, I think a remaster can count towards the OG. You're just playing it and the more up to date. But any game that's called a remaster that's not a remaster, like Metroid Prime, I don't think you can count the Metroid Prime remaster as OG Metroid Prime. I think you have to count that as a Switch game.
You think? Okay.
I think so. Something that's like so massive of an overhaul.
Right, but not like if I wanted to play Metroid Prime Echoes on the Metroid collection for the Wii.
I think
Like
that's fine.
that's basically the same game except you have to cope with the motion controls
Yeah. So why wouldn't you just play it on the on the GameCube?
because I couldn't afford it.
Fair play. Okay. Real quick, how was it hard for you to I know you kind of said it at the top, but like how much of a challenge was this to come up with a list of 10?
Um, it wasn't terribly hard. I think the hardest thing for me was like deciding what game do I feel like I don't have too much time in.
Mhm.
So like for example, um I had Super Mario Odyssey on my list,
Okay.
but I'm probably at least 20% of the way through that game and I've played it in the last year.
Oh, okay.
So I decided not to count it.
This this is always fun with challenges is like figuring out how you also then like on top of everything then police yourself because none of it actually matters. Like it's not life or death, but it's really funny how you like have to like have these like internal battles for like, for the love of the game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, there were a couple of those. I'm trying to think. I had another game on here that I got rid of, but it wasn't that hard. I mean, my process was I looked at my game shelf and just I picked a bunch of ones that I know that I haven't put any meaningful time in,
Mm-hmm.
started with those, and then kind of started whittling my way through. Once I got to like the final three, it got a little hard because then I had to start going into like digital games.
Sure.
Um, which I just remembered one digital game that would have been fantastic, but neither here nor there. I'm glad we set the 2 game limit like per console
Yeah.
because I probably could have like done this entire challenge on the PS4.
Right. Yeah, I definitely think
That
that
would
was a good addition.
the other thing. Sorry, the other thing was not picking too many of the same genre, like just for my own sake.
Sure. Yeah, it was honestly kind of hard for me because like I've been collecting a lot of games, and so then I've had to like I kind of had to wrestle with myself to some degree on trying to like what do I consider a true backlog game? So that was like a whole nother layer that I had to fight through.
Mm.
Cause it's like I don't necessarily equate every single game that I've gotten to like I don't shove them necessarily in my backlog because like I have in my head like like the idea is to play through especially a lot of these old games is the idea is that like Shelby and I are going to be playing through them, together. So like we've been playing through the SNES and then we're going to move on to the PS1 and then we're going to move on to the 64. And so like we have in my head again, I know like we're going to get through and play these games. And so like that was like a whole nother like layer of do I actually consider something to be a backlog game or do I just consider it like a game that I bought for the collection that I know I'm going to play down the road?
Yeah.
Again, dumb doesn't really matter, but that was kind of a layer of challenge um that I had to like really wrestle with. And like trying to find stuff that like again, I have wanted to play this game for X number of years or whatever, or like maybe it's a game that I had forgotten about, but I like had always wanted to play it back on like the PS3 or something like that. And like trying to find those types of games was kind of my biggest air quotes challenge. So
Mm-hmm.
um last question, just to kind of like keep the suspense rolling for now. How many different consoles do you have on your list?
7.
Ooh, I think I also might have 7.
7 different consoles and let's see. One, two, maybe 3 generations. Depends on how you count some of these things.
I also have 7 different consoles, and I have at least 4 generations. I technically don't know which generation a handheld aligns with.
Yeah, that was my issue.
Do you have anything from the current generation?
No.
I have one. That was
Okay.
that was that was another thing for me. It was like I was trying really hard. I was like, okay, my goal is like no PS5 games, maybe one PS4 game. That was like my what I had set for myself. Um, but I have one PS5, one PS4, and a Switch.
I I mean, I almost did a Switch, like I said.
Right.
Uh, but I don't think I ended up landing on any of those. Uh, I think the thing that kind of saved me from doing any like PS5 era games was that I have their prequels on a PS4 list.
Ah, there you go.
But the funny thing is, they didn't necessarily make this list since we did, like I said, only two per
Right.
generation, and how like I probably could have done the entire PS4 generation.
Yeah. All right. Well, without further ado, why don't you go through your list of games?
Okay. These are in no particular order. Um, as you'll see. I tried to go like more recent to then older, and then I kind of just swapped things out as I felt I needed to. So, again, no particular order, but my first one is Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom
Pain. Ooh.
I haven't played this game probably since the year it came out, and I maybe have like 5 hours in it, but
That's
that's
crazy.
that's not a lot of time for that game.
That's shocking.
Uh, so that this is a game that I would probably delete my save and restart. Yeah, it shocks me too because we just talked like last week about how I played Ground Zeroes.
Right.
Like, and of course that wasn't a long game, but like I played the hell out of that game. Yeah, and then just I couldn't get into Phantom Pain for some reason.
Wow. Great
So
start. Great start.
yeah, figured try again. My second one is Knack 2.
Okay.
So that knocks out my two PS4 games.
Yep.
Um, I don't know if I can play them on PS5. I have physical discs. Does PS5 backwards compatibility work that way?
Yeah. Yeah. You might just need to have the disc in.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless they had like a PS5 upgrade, and then it would give you a download. But I'm assuming neither one of those has a PS5 upgrade.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, those are my two PS4 games.
Okay.
And then third, I have Tearaway for the PS Vita.
Okay. Nice.
Um, I I can't remember how many hours I have in that game, but I haven't played it in 10 years. I was literally a freshman in college the last time I played that game.
That's crazy.
So that would be delete the save and restart.
Sure.
And then my next two I have from the GameCube, Luigi's Mansion, which I've owned for forever. It has never seen the inside of my GameCube. And my second one is Super Mario Sunshine, which
Ooh.
uh, I don't know how many hours I have in that game. It's not much.
Yeah.
I would restart.
And real quick for Sunshine, do you have like the Mario 3D All Stars or whatever game for Switch?
No, I'm playing this on disc on the
Gotcha.
GameCube.
Cool. Cool. All right. I just played Sunshine real quick. I played that 2 years ago now. Whenever 3D All Stars came out, because I played 64 and then played Sunshine. Didn't get to play Galaxy, but Sunshine's a solid game. I feel like for whatever reason I have like this like negative perception of it from the general public. Maybe that's wrong, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's kind of nostalgic for me. It was one of those games like we never bought when we were younger, but I think we rented a bunch of times
Yep.
and then just kept our save. But we never beat it. So then I bought it. I don't know how old I was. I was in middle school or high school, and played it for a little bit, but didn't beat it. So I'm excited for that one. The next two I have are from the PS3 era, and this first one is a game that I have an insane amount of hours in. The demo, Just Cause 3.
Okay.
Uh, I don't. I'm sure you remember from the early days owning PS3s and having no money, lived off of demos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, this was probably the greatest demo of all time because I think you got like It was basically like a half an hour countdown timer,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just go and just sandbox it, and it was great.
Yeah, and you
Um,
you put a lot of time, and like you had it down with like the physics of the game and stuff, with like grappling like cars to the plane and shit like that, and
mhm.
yeah, you had that stuff down.
Yeah, and I loved that game. I wanted it for so long. I just never bought it, and then I think it ended up being a PlayStation Plus game.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that's on my PS3. So I want to finally play that one. So that's on my list. And the other one is a game that I bought the trilogy for all at once. Like, let me rephrase. The trilogy for this game came out for the console that it was originally on. But at the time, GameStop was doing a buy two, get one free deal, and it was cheaper to do that and get all three discs. And so as a game I've never played is Resistance Fall of Man.
Okay.
So those are my two PS3 ones. I'm excited for that one. It's so funny because I bought that trilogy, always wanted to play it, mostly because I wanted to get to Resistance 3 because I've heard that one's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I bought it, and the guy at GameStop was like, Resistance 1 is really hard. And so that just stuck with me, and I never played it.
But that guy doesn't know you.
Yeah, he doesn't know shit.
Yeah.
I'm built different.
Yeah.
That's what I should have told him 20 years ago before
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Go back.
Um, yeah, those are two PS3 games I'm excited about. My next one is a PS2 game that I will be playing on PS2 if it gets selected. That's the original Ratchet and Clank.
Nice.
Never played it.
I
I
I
don't. I don't think I've played a second of that game.
I
I've played other
grappled.
games.
I grappled with whether or not I would want to add Ratchet and Clank to like the OG to my list. But ultimately I was like, I feel like that's a game that Shelby and I will like really enjoy playing through like the series of them. So
Mm,
I opted not to. But
yeah,
um that one hovered. Yeah.
yeah. I'm excited for that one. I was going through my. I found a random box of PS2 games in my office, which I don't know why they're not on my shelf, but that had Ratchet and Clank in it and Sly 3.
Oh, nice.
Which I thought I had the original trilogy of Sly on physical PS2 discs, but I don't see the other ones. I think I have more PS2 games somewhere. This caused a whole like conundrum last night of me like completely forgetting about making this list and saying, "Do I have this physical game and where is it?
Yeah.
Is it at my house? Is it still at my parents?" I think this box just came from my parents' house not long ago. But yeah, that'll be a whole thing I have to think about. Um so for now, Ratchet and Clank was my only PS2 game. I considered still doing Sly Cooper, the original Sly Cooper, because I've played it but never beat it.
Sure.
Because I know I have the trilogy on PS3
Hmm.
and Vita, I think, but I left that one out. So my final two from two different generations. The first one is Rise of the Tomb Raider for Xbox One.
Nice.
Um, have that. All three of those games. Only played the first one, so I haven't played the final two, but I loved the first one. And then my last one, and this is one of the ones I alluded to earlier, where I probably have a decent amount of time in, but haven't played it in forever and haven't beaten it. This one will probably also shock you. Metal Gear Rising.
That less surprising.
Really?
But yeah, because that's not a mainline one, right?
No, not at all. It's
Like,
it's more of like a sword play game.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's not nearly as surprising as Metal Gear 5.
Yeah.
Metal Gear 5 had me floored. I was on the ground. I was writhing in pain. I was going nuts.
Yeah. Was it just a phantom pain or?
It was a phantom pain.
Yeah. Yeah.
This a whole nother layer of the challenge now is that I have to pick one of those 10 games for you, which is like
Yeah.
almost an
There you go.
impossible task. Um,
Yeah. Isn't it? I was making this list and like, oh my god, I want to.
God,
I'm only gonna get through 4 of these.
yeah, Goddamn. That was that was another layer too. Like of coming up with the list because well, for a second I thought about being a cheeky bastard and like putting like Pokemon Crystal on my list because I'm trying to play through all of the Pokemon games again. One, that wouldn't be fair because I've played Crystal before, so not in the spirit or the fun of the game, but the other part of that was like, no, I want to play that like as soon as I can once I like finish the previous game. I don't want to have to rely on you like picking it off of a list of 10 games. So
Right.
that was like a whole nother layer. For me at least.
I had two games that I had on the list that I had to take off just because I wasn't sure if a quarter would be enough time to play them. The one of them was Death Stranding.
That's a good one.
I've never touched that game. I can't remember if I bought it for PS4 and never played it, but I did download it on my PS5. So that's what I would have played it on.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that would have counted towards the original 2019 release date.
Yeah, definitely.
I almost added that one, and then the other one I almost added was like literally any.
You cut out any what?
Fallout game.
Oh.
I was going to do either Fallout New Vegas or Fallout 4. And I was looking, I like Googled like how long does it take to literally just play through these games? And it was like 120 hours. Yeah, I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, that's tough. I was pretty cavalier with two of the games that I have on my list and my assumption of being able to like just put my head down and play them, but they're longer games.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah,
I had to try really hard to not make this Kojima catch-up list. Like I literally thought about adding. Found the HD remaster for $15 on.
You cut out again. You found the HD remaster of what?
Zone of the Enders.
Oh yeah.
And it's like $15 on Amazon. I was like, I have wanted to play that game for almost my entire life.
Yeah.
But
Death Stranding would have been a good one for me to add. I kind of forgot about that.
I really thought you played that.
No, not yet. Not yet. Which people are like, it's a delivery simulator, and I'm like, that sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay. Do you want me to pick your game, or do you want me to go? For a very specific reason, I feel like I should go through my list before picking a game from your list because I think,
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Let's go through your list and then.
All right. All right. So first up, I have The Last of Us.
I know you're fucking with me.
Yeah, I'm fucking with you. All right. Without further ado, my list. Again, in no particular order and not nearly as clean of an order as you with stacking certain consoles.
That wasn't intentional.
No, but
Just the way my brain was working.
Yeah, no, you did good. So first up for me, I have Golden Sun for the Game Boy Advance. This rocketed up my back catalog because Jess screamed at me to play it. And then it got put on like the Switch Online service, and she yelled at me again to play it. And so I figured it's, GGBG adjacent too, because of that reason, that I should at least have it on my list. And now it's, in your hands, whether or not I play it.
Mm-hmm. Or just make you deal with the wrath of death.
You just don't choose it at all this year. So yeah, I have that. Would play it on the original Game Boy Advance cartridge.
Interesting. I figured you were gonna play that on Switch.
No. If I, if I have it for the old console, right? Like, might as well.
Yeah.
The only one where I wouldn't do that is like how you were saying about potentially playing like a Fallout game. Like, yeah, I'd try and play that on like the newest iteration possible because thinking back to when I played Skyrim on PS3, the loading screens make you want to die.
Mm.
Um, okay, but Golden Sun. Then for my second game, um, I was trying to think if I had any like I was going through like handhelds, and then I happened to go through my like little case of Switch games, and I realized that I have Mario plus Rabbids, um, the first one specifically, and I know I started it and probably got through like the first world. Maybe I would definitely just restart at this point because I started that like 4 years ago probably. Um, but a game I've wanted to play. They made a second one. Would love to get that eventually, but got to play the first one first. So thought that was a good one to put on here. Um, Potentially a surprising one, and my only PS5 game that I alluded to earlier, Far Cry 6.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel kind of cheeky putting that on here, but I bought that game when it came out and then still have not touched it. So
Okay.
it felt ripe for for putting on the list. Um, so that was my one PS5 game. And then my one PS4 game that I have on here is Kingdom Come Deliverance, and that's the one where I was saying I might be a little cavalier with putting a massive open world RPG on the list.
Yeah, that could be tricky.
But that's a game that I've wanted to play for a while, and again, I know that if you do choose one of these, I'll find a way. I'll find a way.
I'm sure you will. I have no doubts.
I didn't even take you through my PlayStation wrap up. It would kill a small child if they saw how much time I put into my PlayStation last year. Um. All right. Next, PS2 game. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses.
Interesting.
So, probably only realized that there was a Yu-Gi-Oh game on PS2 uh, like 5 to 10 years ago, somewhere within that range. But I played Falsebound Kingdom, which was on the GameCube. My brother and I played that a ton. Love that game. I don't even think it's like similar gameplay whatsoever. I think it's much more card game oriented, but could be wrong. I don't know much. I just know there's a Yu-Gi-Oh game on PS2, and I finally got it like a year or two ago. Again, kind of just like felt like the perfect game to add to the list.
Okay.
Number 7 or 6, I think. I don't know. I don't have them numbered. PS3 game, Mass Effect. I have the trilogy. I've always wanted to play the Mass Effect games. Have just never gotten around to them. So
That would be a good one.
that's
I feel very similar about that one. And
yeah.
just did not cross my mind at all.
And similarly, I know you said you didn't get to look at all of your digital owned games on PS3. That to me, I think, is one that was given, but I could be wrong.
I think you're right because I know I have a copy of it somewhere, but I know I didn't buy it.
Yeah. Um. Then again, another one that I'm gonna get around to no matter what at some point, but I figured it wouldn't be within the year. So I thought, maybe you forced me to. Pokemon Coliseum on the GameCube.
Okay.
Um,
I'm shocked by that one.
yeah, never fully played it. I had it probably 2 times when, like, growing up. Like, probably had it, played it, was like, wow, this game's cool. Then traded it in so I could buy Mario Kart or some shit. Fast forward 3 years, probably got it again, started it, never finished it, and then fast forward to being an adult and paying 3 times what it actually should have cost, and still having not played it. So again, good one to put on here. This
Yeah.
start stop. All right, and then another PS3 game. Again, told you I wasn't very clean with my list. Red Dead Redemption.
Okay. I'm not shocked by that one. That game
Yeah,
got, in my opinion, very hard to play once the PS4 generation came along.
really never even started it though. Um, I did start it, but like I don't even know if I got through whatever the prologue would be considered in that game. But I mean, I love Red Dead Redemption 2's like easily within my top 10 games of all
Mhm.
time. So, yeah. Uh, Another long game though, that I wrestled with a little bit, but and especially because I would be playing on PS3 because I don't feel like paying $30 for a barely upgraded game on the current gen consoles.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then another PS2 game, Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Shelby helped me point that one out because when we were watching the Game Awards and Intergalactic, right? Like they were showing it at the beginning, and they were like, from the creators of Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Daxter, and I was like, oh my god, I've never played Jack and Daxter. It's like the one Naughty Dog series I've never touched. That's not true, but um, yeah, that was one where, and I think I have like the collection on Vita, and I have the entire series on PS2, and just haven't touched them yet. So that
I definitely thought about that one because
yeah,
I have the collection as well.
it goes right there with like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper, right? Like you were
Yep.
kind of saying. So yeah, that felt like a good one specifically to choose. And then my last one, technically it was up higher on my list, but I buried the lead for the GameCube, Luigi's Mansion.
That's
So to
so funny.
me, it kind of feels like, at least for this first challenge,
Yeah.
for the first quarter, because we matched up on a game, it kind of feels like that's the game we should choose.
I, I like it. That's the only game we matched up on.
I believe so. I'm about to
Yeah,
send it in
I like it.
because I thought about Ratchet and Clank, and you thought about Jack and Daxter, but we each went our own ways there. Um, but yeah, so because we matched and we literally had them in the same slot too. Like you said it as your fourth, and it was four on my list, and I had to skip
Yeah.
over it. Um, so yeah, that feels like a that feels like a very on the nose, like easy decision, But I gotta say,
I
your list would have given me fits trying to figure out which one I would choose. So it's gonna be good to have a full quarter to think about
yeah.
it.
I'm really glad too because I didn't want to like start this challenge and then like my first game be honestly like I didn't want my first
You cut
like
out
I kind
again.
of it's so weird. I don't know. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Um
You don't want your first game to be
the Phantom Pain or like any like more modern game. Like I
sure.
really wanted to start with like the newest, but like I was really kind of hoping you'd pick a GameCube or PS3, PS2 game.
Yeah. Well, there you have it.
Yeah, I'm completely in. I love it.
So we have until April 1st to get through Luigi's Mansion.
Okay.
I don't know if
Now,
go ahead.
go ahead.
No.
If we happen to beat it earlier, is that just we still have to wait or
Um
I guess probably
hmm.
because like I don't know, one quarter I might pick, and I'm just assuming this is a short game, the Yu-Gi-Oh game. And you might pick for me the Phantom Pain, which I think is certainly longer than Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, and I'm assuming Phantom Pain's the longest game on your list.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah, I
So
mean, I
one
think
game per quarter, and you know,
yeah, unless we want to do it that like if we both finish,
yeah.
so that way there's like a little, you know, not necessarily pressure, but
That being said, I'm going to want to play other games during this year too.
of course. So
So maybe not. We'll just do the one game. per quarter. Call it good.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
I am very excited. Gotta go get the GameCube set up. I will have
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion finished by next week.
I was gonna say I probably won't even start it until like March. You'll have it done next week.
I won't have it done next week, but
This is
yeah.
this is perfect. Like my GameCube is actually downstairs set up from when we played Mario Kart.
Hell yeah.
And I've got a brand new GameCube controller to unbox and use.
There you go.
Like official from Germany. So this will be good. This is another game that this is a game that Jess can stop bothering me about. Because she also loves Luigi's Mansion.
There you go. Yeah. So basically, what we're saying is this whole backlog challenge is just to finally make Jess happy and
Yeah, it's just to appease Jess.
to make her no longer disappointed in us and our decisions.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anything else that you want to say about the challenge, or shall we wrap it up?
No, let's wrap it up. Go play some Luigi's Mansion.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening, as always. I think we've laid the groundwork here for a fun little challenge that maybe you could do with a friend yourself. So, if you choose to come up with a backlog challenge of some sort, or maybe you have a way of running through your own backlog that you feel like could be useful to Mike and I, let us know. You can go over to the YouTube channel and drop a comment on this episode over there. But as always, thank you all so much for listening. If you can do us a favor and leave us a rating or review wherever you do choose to listen to the podcast, that would be greatly appreciated. And of course, as always, if you could share the podcast with a friend, we would appreciate it. Other than that, we will talk to you next week.